If I can. Uh, Excellent. Hello, I'm Marie. Well, Yuri, since I'm going to go through my presentation. I'm Marie. I'm the program director, and I'll go through my presentation. But since there's just one of you, we can kind of keep this informal. It is being recorded, just so that people who miss can have that. And
Uh-huh.
Yuri, just may I ask, what program are you looking to? Are you most interested in? Are you interested in the Masters in Project Management or one of the other project management options?
No, it'll be the masters.
Okay, so I will speak to the other options, but that's good to know.
Okay,
Uh,
perfect.
okay, let's get started. Okay, so first slide here is a little bit about me. My name is Marie Spark, MBA PMP. I'm the lecturer and program director for the Project Management Graduate Program. So I teach some of the classes, but I also run the program. Why GGU? If you're here, you probably already been talking to enrollment counselors, so you know that we're really great at online education and adult learning, and we're a nonprofit in San Francisco with a over 100-year history, and we have a really great alumni network. And when you come to GGU, there's a host of student services. I won't go into detail there because I'm assuming you already had exposure, but I think this is a good um, sampling of our services.
Mhm.
And we have great career advising. And so definitely one of the career advising is one of the things I focus on in my program. I work closely with our career center. And so students are interested in project management careers, internships, networking. That's something that's all part of the program as far as, my oversight. There we go. So let's just dive into project management and like what exactly is it? And it's a little fake quiz question. Is it an approach to doing work proactively and collaboratively? Is it a set of tools and techniques that anyone can use? Or is it a growing profession worldwide? And the correct answer is all of those things. And I like to say that project management means managing projects so that they don't manage you.
I like that
Sure.
one.
Oh, yeah, you like that? Good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that too. It kind of sums it up. A short history, because we know that people have had projects a very long time. I always think of the Egyptian pyramids or the Roman Colosseum. Obviously, someone managed those, but it wasn't really a career path. So, where project management started out is really in the 50s when we started having defense and construction, those massive, things like the space program and skyscrapers. Suddenly, having more structured project management was a necessity, and by the late 60s, Project Management Institute was established, just celebrated its 50th year of existence. And that organization developed standards for project management, developed project management as a career path, and the PMP certification, et cetera. And by the 90s, when I started as a project manager, project management was really booming and it just really hasn't stopped. And today there's over 1 million and growing certified project managers. And so, why is this? Well, the ugly truth is without intervention, most projects fail. And there's a PMI, the Project Management Institute, does studies every few years about the state of the project management profession. And what they find time and time again is that in general, companies lose about $100 million for every $1 billion they invest in projects and programs when they don't use project management practices and techniques. And so here's some reasons that a project fails, but we'll get in more into that in some other slides. But demand for project management skills is growing by leaps and bounds. And that's really because in a world with constant change, companies need people with these skills. We don't have these kind of operational jobs that are the same every day and the same year to year. We saw with the pandemic over last year and business disruption, companies need people who know how to manage change. And so there really is a shortage worldwide of project managers. There's just more jobs needing project management skills. Globally, there's just higher demand due to in developing countries due to economic development. And a lot of the boomers are starting to retire. There's a huge number of people who are retiring, and those people need to be replaced. And here's a quote from PMI from their talent gap report, which just came out about the new opportunities for project professionals. Here's a sampling of industries using project management. This is really just a sampling. I think there's this sort of misconception that it's like IT and construction and that's kind of it. But really, it runs the gamut. And you see in here things like engineer and entertainment, for instance. So, like design fields, entertainment fields, legal fields, things like real estate. Honestly, I think you could flip the question like which industries wouldn't use project management, because project management probably fits in with any industry you can think of. Here's some project management concepts. First of all, what is a project? A project is a coordinated set of activities to create something new within a deadline. And a project manager is the person who coordinates those activities and makes sure everything is completed successfully. But more importantly, projects are how organizations drive change, and project managers are the people who make change happen and get things done. I find, by the way, that most people who come into my program, or myself included, have always been those kind of people that really loves rolling up their sleeves and getting things done. That just seems to be a natural tendency of people going into project management. One of the questions people always ask is kind of like, why do projects require project management skills? And so many times I've talked to people who they fall into doing a project and it's so much harder than they thought, and it just seems very mysterious. But there's some reasons for that. So first of all, there's risk and uncertainty because you're doing something new. Deadlines because there's never enough time. And in addition to deadlines, there's constraints also on money and people as well and other resources. Too many cooks because you need to involve a lot of different people with different interests who have to agree on things. Managing without authority because you're doing performing work across different groups. And finally, the optimism bias, which is the human tendency to have unrealistic expectations about outcomes. So let's transition into project management at Golden Gate University. One of the things I get asked a lot is about the value of a graduate degree versus like certification. And one of the things to understand is PMI now looks at project management skills holistically, because it used to be considered, oh, well, you needed these technical project management skills, like which would certification would be. But there's a recognition that success or failure project management really also involves leadership skills, which is all those people skills, soft skills, and also business and strategic skills. And that is what we provide in our graduate work. Um, and I always like to say, when you're thinking about PMP certification versus um, a graduate degree, getting a certification will help recruiters identify you as a project manager. It's definitely important and something that some of my students end up doing. But a graduate project management education will help you be a project manager and think like one. So here's some of the programs. So it sounds like we're talking mainly about the MS in project management today, but also there's concentrations in project management in MBA leadership, also IT management, and there's also a project management graduate certificate. So just as far as program features, the curriculum provides a combination of project management, what I call power skills, which is leadership, teaming, and analytics. Instructors are all certified industry professionals with that you'll learn from their experience. Classes are in-depth, hands-on, and collaborative. And if you are interested in certification for PMI, you can apply any one of your 3-unit classes for classroom credit for the PMP or CAPM exam. We also have really great professional networking opportunities. We have a close relationship with the PMI San Francisco Bay Area chapter, and they have what they call the Next Generation Leader Program, which gives structured volunteer experiences for students. Students get a chance to participate in things like project management conferences, put together events, and network with professionals. Back when we were on campus, and this is a bunch of project management students at an event. And our project management club on campus is affiliated with the PMI's professionals. Here is our MS project management curriculum. We start out with the foundations, which is Business 240, which is data analysis for managers, and it's statistics. So if someone's had statistics before, they usually can wave out of that. Then we have our project management core courses, the Intro to Project Management class, which is like an overview of waterfall methods. Then Agile Management for Project Managers, which is focused on the Agile techniques, Agile being really important in today's modern environment to manage projects where you have an uncertain outcome. Then there's the 343, which is the Advanced Concepts class. There is the 344 class, which is the Program and Portfolio Management, which is how organizations manage projects at the top level for business to drive business value. And then we have Project Risk Management to round that out. We also have power skills classes, I said, the non-project management classes, including 3 leadership courses, management and leadership, teamwork and organizations, and leading complex change, MSBA 300, which is Foundation of Business Analytics. And then electives, you can choose to finish out your degree either with a capstone course, which is really a overview class that covers all the previous concepts that you covered in your program, or with an internship. I did want to add that probably for fall, it's still in the process. I'm working on having some electives available for students who want to do something different than those 15 units of power skills. So that's something we can work through if someone has a specific interest in an outside other class. Okay, there we go. So we also have graduate certificates and concentrations. Um, and there's an MBA. MBA has a PM concentration, leadership has a PM specialization, and then there's a graduate certificate in project management. There, and I realized I think one of the things that just came through is there now is IT management now has a project management concentration, and this was missed in this version of the presentation, but it is there. Anyway, so both the certificates and the concentrations are 12 units of project management. And just anyway, so that's another option for students who are looking to do a different degree but still want the some, or want to do some project management work. All right, so here's information about applying to GGU. I have Mike on the line if you have questions about applying, because that's not my area, but he can answer your questions. And then just by attending the webinar today, you will get an application waiver, which is always handy. And here's more information about financial aid and paying for your degree. I also want to add that we have the GGU Presents Speaker Series. And this is a lot of fun to try out a sense of GGU and what we're all about. They have speakers periodically, and then they also have the events on video if you want to check it out. I did actually one on project management for attorneys, but there's a lot of other topics out there. Okay, that is all I have for my presentation, and I'll stop sharing in case you have any questions.
Yes, I have some questions.
Okay.
First, thank you very much for the presentation. So I've seen that there's the MBA focusing on project management. There is the graduate certificate for project management and the master's. So I am a PMP also, and so what I'm looking for is because like I've become a project manager, kind of like, I was working and they, do you want to lead this project? And then
you're what they call the accidental project manager. There's a lot. I understand.
And then I studied in Brazil, so I have an MBA there too, and I'm a mechanical engineer. So I'm looking to have a graduation or like a diploma, a certificate here in US.
It looks like you're trying to get something. So you have the PMP and you have the MBA. And so what you're looking for is what would be something that would add to your education, your formal project management education.
Yes.
It sounds to me like you might be a really good candidate for the certificates. The nice thing about the certificate is, because you already have an MBA.
Yes.
And so if you don't need another graduate certificate. The nice thing is if you did the certificate and then you decided you still wanted to, there are people who do go on for a double master's. The great thing is those classes still count towards the master's degree, but you could do those 4 classes and then have a graduate certificate in project management. And that might be a good option for you because it's just 12 units. And definitely I would say, because there are people who come to my classes who have a PMP, you will get a lot out. In fact, I would say you do get a lot out of those classes. In fact, in some ways you get more because you come with the practical experience and the PMP. It helps you solidify like that experience into to take it to another level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why. So I was asking because then I'll have to define between the master's and the certificate. So like, for example, if I want to go for a PhD later to study more, and maybe not specifically in like project management, but something in the area. So would the masters help me more than the certificate?
I mean, I think you already have an MBA, so to do a doctorate, you just need a master's degree. I don't think it matters which. I mean, one of the things, and this is where Mike might be able to help me out a little bit. You know, one of the things to consider is you might use some of your MBA coursework to, you could use it to apply. Well, you could do the, you know, one other thought is you could do the graduate degree in project management and then use your MBA coursework to substitute for the non-project management classes. Because, you know, I was saying there's like 4 classes that are non-project management, and we could arrange for you to waive out of the 4 MBA classes, and then you could do the graduate management masters with, then it's like 6 classes. So that might be another option I hadn't even thought of.
That'll be good.
So this is Mike with the admissions. Hi,
Yeah,
Yuri.
Mike is the
Hi,
guy
Mike.
you have to talk to.
Sorry to cut you off a little bit, Marie. So sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I saw the notes, and I know you spoke to my colleague Nodira a couple of days ago on the email, and I saw the notes she left. And are you currently in the United States as a green card holder?
Yes, so I'm in the green card process because I applied in 2020.
Okay.
But right now I have an EAD. Yes.
It makes you a green card holder in that regard. So for you, I agree with Marie that because you have an MBA degree outside of the United States already, to obtain a PhD later, it's not absolutely necessary. You need to get another master's degree in the United States. And I agree with Marie that, you know, if you want to, I know you are trying to make yourself more equipped, at least professionally, with the knowledge of project management. Mm-hmm. And I think that if you are not sure what your future direction is, and you could start out with applying for a certificate program first. And because a certificate program has fewer units, have 12 units, have 4 classes, then you can use this as a tryout for you if you are willing to commit more, you know. So by the end of the day, you know, if you finish the certificate program, you have something at hand to validate your professional skills in project management. But at the same time, you're also leaving yourself a spare path if you want to commit further into getting a US graduate degree in the United States. So, you know, it would be a wise choice if you are not absolutely clear at the time, you know, whether a master's degree will benefit you in the long term. A master of project management. But if you go for a certificate program, then you can be more flexible in that way in the long term if you think about that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, Mike. That's a really good point. And I mean, I think it's you kind of and I were dovetailing. And I would just say, Yuri, it sounds like you're you're kind of worried. Well, you know, I think you're really wise to look into the graduate work because you have the PMP, you have the MBA, and it sounds like you have the hard-won experience. And I do think that you're going to really benefit from those project management classes. That being said, in the marketplace, having an MBA and a PMP, that's already pretty much golden. So, like I think what Mike's saying, I don't think you absolutely need another master's degree to be marketable. I mean, it'd be great, and but I think that like even just doing the project management certificate, I feel like your main benefit will be the knowledge you gain and the increased confidence. I definitely find students in your position where their PMPs are really experienced. Taking the graduate classes has really taken them to the next level, and it's even before they finish. I actually have a student who was in the biopharma field and frustrated in her career, and sort of partway through the program ended up getting a better job just because the skills that she gained. And I think that's what you're going to find. But here's the thing, to Mike's point, if you do the certificate and partway through you go, you know, this is great, I'd really like to continue. Those are graduate classes that can apply, and you could have multiple options. Like another option could be, for instance, the leadership program also has a project management specialization. So, you know, the starting out with a couple classes and signing up the certificate would be a good way to, like Mike said, try out the waters. You definitely will get some great skills and experience that you can add on. And, you know, I just don't like overselling. Like if someone like you already have the MBA, you already have the PMP, you do not need a master's degree, but what you will really benefit from is those classes in terms of it upping your game.
And another thing that I'm concerned with, and that I would like to create, is a network here, because I was living in another city here in US, and then I just moved to here. So I think that the networking, it's really important too.
Definitely. As I said in my presentation, I'm very closely tied with the Project Management San Francisco chapter. I actually run a monthly virtual, hopefully in person eventually, professional roundtable. And so my students, you know, definitely being involved in GGU project management is a great way for students to get into the San Francisco Project Management Network.
Okay.
And definitely, I would say you're smart to know that, because project management, the number one thing, it's a profession of a person to person profession, and like networking is really very key to success.
Yeah, good. So yeah, I'll take a look at the certificate program. And in terms of cost, are always the same cost for 3 units? Is that value like 3,300, something like that?
All right, that's a Mike question.
So because for the certificate program, you have substantially fewer units. So as the tuition will be substantially fewer. And I think that we do have a discount for the certificate program, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think that what you can do is, because after today's webinar, we will send you a follow-up email along with the code to waive your $65 application fee. And I think that the biggest focus you want to think about now is to think about whether you want to apply for a master's in project management program, or you want to apply for a certificate program. And by submitting an online application, it helps to initialize the admissions process. And if you're applying to a certificate program, the admissions process will be substantially simplified. You wouldn't be needing, because per your foreign credential, if you apply for a master's program, we'll need the WES for your master's degree and bachelor's degree, and that will lengthen the admissions process. But if you apply for the certificate program, we will require much fewer things from you. So it's a weighing process. If you would like to start school as soon as possible to get to know the decision as soon as possible, then applying for a certificate program would be a great start for your circumstance.
And then I could so that the classes are the same between them. So I just
yeah, the classes are all the same. It's just you take more classes for the master's degree, but the 4 classes are definitely 4 classes you would be taking anyway in the graduate program.
Okay, so then if I want to move from the certificate to the master's later, that
it's all the. May I ask, we didn't talk about your experience. So what industry you're in, or what's your background, and what are you looking to do?
Yeah, so I was a project manager for an automotive company.
Okay.
I was like a technical project manager, now I moved here to a robotic company.
Oh, okay, nice.
It's interesting. Yeah,
oh,
totally
interesting,
different.
very interesting. Okay, well, that sounds like great experience, and I think you would benefit a lot. And anyway, I did put my email in the chat, so if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'll do that. Yeah, so I think that in my case, it'll be just figuring out what will be the best path, and I'll take a look at it. And for sure, if I have more questions, I'll send an email. And I received an email, like the masters will be around 39,000, right? And that would take, I think, Mike, it would take like 2 years or something like that if you are part-time.
I mean, one of the things to keep in mind is, because you have the MBA, you would not need, you could probably waive out of like 4 classes, because There's the not.
For graduate courses, so if you are looking to transfer
Yeah.
your graduate program, the maximum we are able to take is 6 units, 2 classes.
Oh, okay, 6. All right.
But with Yuri, in your scenario, because you have a foreign credential, the transfer process might not always work out for you because we need to compare between the syllabus and things like that. So have an expectation, with the mentality that you would, if you the maximum, even if we can find equivalent of the courses, possibly the maximum we are able to transfer is 2
Okay, so
classes
6
out
units.
of
I would definitely say you could. I think the 6 units would be fine because I'm the person who usually has to give the final go ahead, and because it would be waiving out for the sort of more elective classes. To me, like if you have an MBA, your MBA classes would count for that. But I mean, I would say with Mike, like definitely to be conservative, think of it as a buffer, and it would be nice if it works out with the 6 units. But just from my perspective, I tend to approve that.
Okay, yeah, good. So perfect. And both can be done part-time, right? Also because I'll be working. So
oh yeah, we have a lot of working adults who do 1 or 2 classes at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for your scenario, because you are a green card applicant, you do not need, just like other international students, they must go with the full time. But for you, it's flexible. You can take 1 class, 2 classes, or 3 classes. At GGU, we consider 3 classes as full-time enrollment. But in your scenario, if you're also having a full-time job, perhaps you could start as minimum as 1 class to go for your first term, and then try to increase your workload depending on your circumstance at the time.
Okay, yeah, and then if I take 3 classes each term, that will put me to complete in 2 years, or just to have an idea?
So the MSPM program is designed to complete in about 1.5 to 2 years. So if you take 3 classes per term, it would take about a year and a half.
Okay.
For the master's program.
Yeah, and if you waive out of 2 classes, you gain a semester because we have 3 classes. Was it 20? Like there's 30 units, which is if you divide 3 per semester, there's like an odd class. So if you're able to waive out of 2 classes, it actually gains you some time.
Okay, good. So the minimum will be around 1.5 year too, and then is there a maximum period to complete?
No, we have some people that I mean, definitely it's good to have a momentum, but we have people who finish who they did 1 class, 2 classes at a time, and they took their time.
Yeah.
I mean, that this is like Golden Gate University is designed for people who are working adults. Then the other thing I would just add too, because you're working and you, like Mike said, you don't have to be here full time and everything. I would just say from my personal experience, I find that people have a lot of benefit even from taking 1 or 2 classes. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. And so what I would just say is, even if you're thinking, like the class I would suggest for you, because you have this automotive background and it's, well, now robotics is, well, it depends. So there's the 2 classes that you would want to take in the fall is either there's the Agile class or else the Intro to Project Management class. So I guess it kind of depends what you think is more apropos. I don't know if you're using Agile at all in your workplace or interested in that.
Yeah, no, I'm really interested because like automotive, we didn't use that a lot, and our software team here for the robotics team, they use it, and I even got like a certificate of Scrum Master, but I've never worked with it, so it's just like the awareness, I would say.
So I would suggest in that case, I would suggest that definitely consider taking the Agile class in the fall. The person teaching in the fall is someone who's a real Agile expert. She's someone who's like was in the ground floor when Agile got started, and the way she runs the class is she treats the class as like an Agile project. So it's real hands-on Agile experience. And so I think if I were choosing, like if you only have 1 class to take in the fall, I think that's the one for you. I definitely feel like you'll enjoy the intro class at some point, and I teach it in fall and spring. But I think you would get a lot out of the Agile class as a starting point.
Okay, great, good to know. Yeah, perfect. Oh, and one thing that I didn't see in the like the classes, is there any of the classes that focus also on the scope, like scope management?
Scope management. Well, I mean, it really is kind of embedded in all the classes. So definitely, the intro class, we talk, so the introductory class, the way it's set up is because that's the class I teach. It is following sort of the PIM box since you did the PMP, but the idea is we actually follow projects. Students do a sort of hypothetical project from beginning to end where they work through a project that they come up with, and then they have to define the scope, and then they actually have to work through the scope of that project and understand how do we make sure that scope is the same throughout, the budget and the project planning and the risk management. And so that's really very much a focus. And then I would say that all the classes have that to some extent. But you're right, that is so important. Scope is very important. And of course, it's so different with Agile because scope is part of Agile, but you don't define it in the same way because you're constantly defining it in increments.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, perfect. And yeah, those were the main questions.
Okay. Well, it's really nice to meet Yuri. Whatever you decide, sounds like you're doing some cool stuff and you're on the right track. So again, feel free to reach out to me with any further questions.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.